And do the title.
Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are listening to us. It is Vicky Midwood here with the lovely Jennie Bolt with your Wednesday weekly What If? And today's title is, Jennie, over to you.
What if I've forgotten? That's hysterical.
What if we didn't suppose?
What if we didn't suppose? Well, there we go. That's absolutely hysterical.
I still remembered.
I know. What if we didn't suppose? And that's probably what it was. So we were just talking about it just briefly before we came on and saying, what do we mean by that? And how many times do we actually say, I suppose I should? I suppose I must. Suppose. We use suppose more than suppose most of the time, don't we, in our language? And yeah, suppose so. What does it actually mean to us, though? What's the energy of it? It's almost like does it make you feel heavy or light? Does it just sort of pull you, shrink you more, or does it expand you? And I think that's really the thing, is how much you then using suppose as a compromise into it's not really. Generally for me, suppose is this isn't really going to work. I think I have to do it, better do it, or can't be bothered even to think of anything else, instead of just going, actually, truth, what's another choice I can make here? Because how much less ease do we not create as a result of saying, I suppose I better do this. Yeah, guess so. It's that absolute monotone of both energy and voice.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it does really matter what energy you're coming from. When I think of, I suppose, I kind of know that it's something that I should do, because I know that if I do it, I'm going to feel better having done it. But in the past, I don't think that that's where my supposes would have come from, if that is even the word.
I agree with you, actually. I think that's true. And how much of the lie in it? So often we do the suppose, where's the lie in it? Because it's more of a truth. Is it really what we want looking at? And we think we then go into, oh well, yeah, that'll make me feel better. Yeah, okay. So the whole level of energy is completely flat as distinct from, yay, let's do it.
Yeah, you're right.
I think suppose.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it's more for me, I feel if I use the word I suppose, I think it's more because I'm struggling to make a decision about what I should do next. And I think my brain is going, well, you need to be doing something. And so it's going to latch onto something that is familiar and probably easy, that needs to be done anyway, but maybe not necessarily at that time. But my brain's going to go there because it's the easy option. So it's, as you said, sometimes we don't have to think about it too much. I suppose I'll do this, because I don't then have to think of something better or something more worthwhile I might actually enjoy doing more than the thing I'm going to end up doing.
Yes, it's like a routine, isn't it, really? And how much kindness for ourselves is in that. We say, and you're right, it is the easy option very often. Yeah. And especially if someone's asked you something, whatever that may be, to do something or whatever that may be, you're then going, yeah, I suppose so. And where's the enthusiasm there? Where's the joy in it? Where's that energy of joy and enlightenment, whatever it is, that's just making you feel, wow, yeah, let's go for it. What fun can we have with it? Whereas for me, the language of that word just is just like, well, can't really be bothered to do anything else. And what are we saying to our bodies Vicky, when we're saying that, though. Really, I suppose so. I mean, how alive is your body? What's that doing to the energy that's actually within you?
I'm kind of going down the road of curiosity with, I suppose, as opposed to me going, oh, I suppose so, and it just being something that I don't really want to do, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's easy. I'm thinking along the lines of, I suppose I could do this, or I suppose I could do that. And suppose I do that, then what? I think that's where I like to go with the word suppose. But if it's coming from a place of, oh, suppose so, you're right. The energy is flat. The feeling is not exciting. It's definitely heavy. And it's probably going to lead me into not feeling motivated to do anything other than what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes, and I think that's a great thing. But I also, for me, doing even the way you were just expressing your own self there, it's about you come to a conclusion already that actually it's going to be all right to do it, or you've defined its outcome.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we know it.
Rather than just allowing, just being and seeing what unfolds.
Right. And so what if we didn't suppose? What if we actually thought about something else? What if we allowed ourselves to feel lighter and use our creative energy to do something different? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And using that question, okay, what's going to work for me here?
Ah, great question.
You know, what is it? What can I choose now? Okay. And the suppose may come in. So truth, is that going to work? So what else can I choose?
Giving yourself
what can I do different? And by using the question takes you beyond an answer. You're not meant to have an answer for it. It's just going beyond that moment of flatness and almost time to give yourself a moment to think about what it is you're looking to do. An opportunity rather than going, yeah, suppose so, which is kind of a yes or no. Suppose so, suppose not. It could be either way, whichever way we use it.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of a cop-out, isn't it, really? When you think about it, it's very much, we know the outcome, we know what we're doing, we know how to do it. It requires no effort, and we may or may not feel better having done it. We don't really know, but we're probably just going to go through the motions because it's familiar.
Yeah. And we also might be doing it for someone else. Be aware that actually we say this, it often does involve other people as well. And how much is that affecting how much we enjoy it at the end of the day?
Absolutely. And it's just reminded me of what I was talking about on my podcast this week, which was like debunking what do we actually flipping well mean by self-care. And one of the crucial things on that is looking after your mental and emotional health as well as your physical health. And that's giving yourself permission to say no to stuff that you don't want to do. And how many times do we get asked to do something for others that we really don't want to do, but we kind of go, oh, I suppose so. Yeah, I can do that, I suppose. Because we don't really want to do it, but we don't want to say no because fear of them feeling a certain way or what they might think of us and all that kind of stuff. So we end up doing stuff that is actually detrimental to us just because we couldn't pluck up the courage to say what we actually wanted to say, which was the word no.
And that's where the lie lies, really, isn't it? In lying to ourselves. By thinking, oh, well, not doing anything, just doing something that's not really energizing in any way. And it doesn't matter, you're going to go racing off and be absolutely thrilled with things. Just taking that stock. And what gift are you not being to yourself by supposing?
Wow, that's a great question. Yeah, because I think we touched on this before, that we need to think of ourselves in a slightly different way. And that's like a gift, something precious, something to cherish, something to look after. And I think so many of us and so many people listening, I think, will identify with this, that, you know, we often do not think of ourselves like that at all. And yet just asking that question just brings it right to the forefront of our thinking. Great question.
And thank you, but, you know, we're important. We only have ourselves. We have ourselves. Yes, we're surrounded by whatever people and things, but actually, who's the person that's really the center of it all? Yourself.
Yeah.
Why would you suppose for yourself? What would you prefer to have other than suppose? What would you choose? What would you notice in your body? What energy would you create for yourself if you weren't supposing?
I love those questions. Absolutely. I think looking at it from an energetic and a physical point of view just brings it into a whole kind of different light as to what are we actually saying to ourselves when we say, I suppose so.
Yeah, and you know, you're right. The body, it's also the head, because we're using that awful thinking. I don't particularly like thinking. I prefer going with your knowing. It seems to be lighter for me. But when we start thinking about supposing we must, and we mustn't, or we shouldn't, or whatever that is, what even in our heads, it's pulling us down. It's contracting.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're going, okay, so what other choices have I got? We expand more. We're out there more. Because our heads, we're all bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Our beings are much bigger than just our physical bodies.
And I think we forget that so often, don't we? That we are not just this skin and bone bag that we live in. We are much more than that. And I think at the moment, with so many people in lockdown and trying to run their businesses and run homes and homeschooling, the amount of supposes that must have been going on over the last few months, it's almost like a to-do list, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, you're supposed to have done this today and you're supposed to do that. Or would you like to? Well, I suppose so. If I've got to do it, I suppose so. And all of this is just more pressure and more stress on everybody who is in this horrendously weird situation at the moment, where we're all in the same people's company 24/7. And there are so many times, I'm sure, that we want to ask a different question and want to do things a different way, but feel that we mustn't, shouldn't, or aren't supposed to.
That's correct. And I think it's about, so what else is possible here I haven't even considered? What more fun can I have? What can I do different here? What is it? And if someone's speaking to you and you, as you say, as opposed to this education within the home, working within the home, goodness me, I so take my hats off to all you amazing parents and people dealing with all that. Because you're constantly putting yourself back. What if you chose to not do that?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're ignoring everybody else, but by using the questions, you can make all these situations which have become stressful, and stress is a conclusion and you're stuck. It's exhausting at the end of it. What if you just go, okay, I'd love to help. I haven't got time right now. Would 5 minutes do, 10 minutes? You're making that choice. Yeah. You know what's going to work for you, but you're also asking the other person, can we be with you in 5 minutes? Would that work for you? Not. We're excluding emergencies in those times, of course, but there are times when you can actually go beyond suppose, just get on, oh yes, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a this, I'm a that, I should be helping, they need me.
Yeah.
Not at all. You're the person that has to be kind to you.
Absolutely.
It has to work for you first. So use the questions. And if you do feel stressed, use who does this belong to? Return it to sender with consciousness attached. Is it 99% of your thoughts, feelings, emotions won't belong to you anyway?
Well, and this
what else is possible?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that is quite nice with supposed is something that you probably heard when you were a kid, right? Especially because you're a teacher, and I bet some kids said this to you. Says who?
Yes,
We're supposed to do, but says who?
yes, says who.
And that's a really good question, right? So when you're feeling that you're supposed to do this, or I'm supposed to, maybe ask yourself, says who?
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely brilliant way of anticipating it all.
I think that's a great place to leave it for today.
Absolutely.
For those people who might want to know more about just what you do and how you help people, and especially parents with children, tell people where they can find you, Jennie.
Yeah, thank you. It's Facebook and LinkedIn and website, jenniebolt.com.
Excellent. Great stuff. And you can find me, Vicky Midwood, the Alcohol Addiction and Disordered Eating Eliminator, over on Facebook, LinkedIn, and my website is vickymidwood.com. Thank you once again for tuning in to our weekly What If ramblings. If you have any comments or questions, please do leave them in the box below this video, and please put #replay. If you think anything that we've spoken about today may be useful or helpful to anyone, please do pass them the link so that they can watch and maybe connect with us as well. On that note, have the rest of a good day. Whatever you get up to, please don't make it full of things that you're supposed to do.
Have way too much fun.
Yes. Thanks, Jennie. Speak to you soon.
Thank you, Vicky.
Bye.